So let's build dimension 2 now very quickly. So our D2 has product ID, category, subcategory, and product name. So we are doing the same thing. So you just go to the next query here. Double click. Become the product. So this is the dimension for our product. Then here, just come to choose columns. And I know that for this column, what I need is only someone, please, maybe you need to mute. Product ID, category, subcategory, and product name. So that's all we need on this dimension. So I'll do OK. Then I'll do Control A, do a right click, remove duplicates. And that's all for this dimension here.
Hello, I'm having difficulty. I don't know. My columns, all the columns are not showing.
All the columns are not showing. Please share your screen, Olawale.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So if I come here now, choose column.
Yeah.
This is what
okay,
I have.
All you have customer. Okay. Cancel. Go
Then
to
the same thing goes for the other ones.
The same for everything, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see the Excel file that you connected to. Can you launch it in Excel?
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can only see your Power Query. Maybe
okay,
you're not.
Okay, let me launch to just a minute.
Okay.
Let me stop sharing. Can you see my screen now?
Okay, yes, I can. Okay, I guess why. So this is a file that's already been built. The dimension has already been built on this. So is this the file that every one of us will using?
This is the one
I thought I shared, yeah. So the dimension has already been built here. So I thought I shared one that had the raw file without all the dimensions. So that while I'm sharing a file on the chat now, please connect to this one.
Okay.
So eventually, when we are done with the modeling, what you would eventually have would be the same thing with what you have on that file. Do you get that? So I'm just waiting for you, Olawale, so you can reconnect to that file. And so we are sure that we're on the same page. Olawale, please let me know when we are good.
Yes, I'm almost done.
Okay.
Okay, we can continue.
Okay. So I'll share back my screen now. Share the screen, please. All right, so let's go on to the third dimension now. So the third dimension, what do we have there? D3, sales rep, sales team manager. So just need to come here, do a right click on this. We want to rename this, and I'll call this D sales team, maybe something like that. Then we know that here we are meant to have just 3 columns. So I'm coming here, selecting sales rep, sales team manager. Then I'll do okay. And the same thing, I'll do a Control A, I'll do a right click, and I'll say remove duplicate. So let me know when we've completed this. So let me know when you have this done. Okay, well done, Sadiq. Olawale Abdul Samad, are we good?
Yes, I'm fine.
Yes, I'm good.
Okay, all right. So now let's do the same thing for D4. So our D4 is, what's on our D4 again? D4 is customer ID, customer name, and segment. So that would be something like our D customer. So I'll just come here. I can double click on this. And I can call this D customer. And I know that here, what I would have is just the customer ID, customer name, and segment. Then I'll come here. Okay. Then I would come here, Control A, right click, remove duplicates. All right, so I have this. Please let's confirm when we have this. All right. So let's build our fact file now. The last thing we're building is the fact file. And remember that our fact file would have all our keys and including the V's. So let's have that and remove every other column aside from this. So we'll come here. I'll come here. I'll call this one the facts. Then I'll come to choose columns. And for the columns, I know that I will need the order ID, order date, ship mode, customer ID, sales rep, location ID, product ID, sales, quantity, discount, profit, and I'll do OK. So once you have selected the entire columns that will be on your fact file, do we think we should remove duplicates here? Let me have our thoughts on this. What do you think? What is the implication of removing duplicates here? Yes, Olawale?
I'm thinking, since we've removed the duplicates from the previous ones, then we should not remove it again.
Why do you think we should not?
I think the whole information won't be complete if
Excellent.
I'm okay.
Excellent. So because here we have our values here, remember, our values are here: sales, quantity, discount, and profit. And this is being recorded per transaction. So if we remove duplicates here, we are going to lose some part of our data. And that is a unique characteristic of the fact file. So the fact file is allowed to have duplicates. It's even expected that it has duplicate. A customer can have multiple transactions. So the fact file is a transaction file. The dimension files, they only have details of your individual dimensions. So they don't have anything that has to do with your transaction. And that's why we have restricted each of the dimension files, dimension tables, to a specific dimension. So on the location dimension, everything that we would see there, it's something related to location. Everything that will be on the products dimension will be something related to products. So that is how this has been marked. And so in that wise, dimension tables are not meant to have duplicates. So you remove duplicates from them so that when we are looking at a particular dimension, a postal code, for instance, we know a postal code would only belong to one city, will only belong to one country, will only belong to one region. So that is a unique characteristics of your dimension tables. But your fact files, that's what houses your transactions, so they are allowed to have duplicates. So now we have 5 tables with the number of columns that we identified. So we are done building these. Once we're done in Power Query, let's load now into Power BI. So everybody, load this into Power BI and let's see how this plays out. So this loading, ours should be loading as well. Okay, so please let's confirm when we have our tables loaded into Power BI successfully. All right, thank you, Sadiq. Olawale Abdul Samad. Okay, I'm not sure. All right, so once we have this loaded up, then if you look at the left pane of the screen, we'll see that we have report, we have data, and we have model. So once you hover your mouse on it, you get to see that. If you click on the model, which is the last one there, that will take us to the model view. And immediately on the model view, we'll see all the different tables that we brought in and the sort of relationship that I showed us in Excel. So let me just try to make this slightly smaller here. And then let me try to make this a bit smaller. So we don't need it to be that big. And so we can bring this into focus as well. And you notice that we have the sort of relationship that I built out earlier in Excel. This is what we have eventually on our data model. So many times, if you do this correctly, and secondly, if your column names are the same on both ends. By both ends, I mean, if I'm looking at my D sales table, D sales team, and the facts, if I hover my mouse on the line connecting the two, it will tell us what the two are being connected by. And now it's telling us that the sales team and the facts table, they are connected via the sales team, the sales rep column. So if the columns on both ends have the same names, most likely you have them automatically connected on your model like this. And if you have them connected on your model like this, it means you can go on to build a report on top of them because they can now speak to one another. And that is the importance of the dimension keys, of the keys that we added to the fact file. If you look at this very carefully, for dimension D4, for instance, the key is the customer ID. And this key, which is the customer ID, exists on the dimension D4 and also exists in the fact. And that is the only reason why we were able to connect the two together so that they can speak to one another, because we have a customer ID on the dimension and we have a customer ID on the fact file. So this is our data model. But very quickly, some things that we need to be aware of. We'll see that between all of these tables, we have a line connecting them to the fact file. The line has some features on it. One is the direction of the arrow. And two, if we look at the line, we'll see that on one end, it has a 1. On the other end, it has a star. And that will make us quickly want to talk about the kinds of cardinality or relationship that can exist. If I come here to manage relationship, it will launch up a window. And let's say I want to edit this, for instance. I'm not editing, I just want to show us some things here. If you look at what I have here, this cardinality, it says many to one. And that's why we can see a star on one side. Let me take this guy slightly down. Okay, I'll not be able to say the full thing. But that's why we can see a star on one side and one on the other side. We have 3 options actually. It's either you're doing a many to one, a one to one, or a many to many. So this one to many and many to one, they're actually the same thing. It just depends on where the many side is. And the one side is the side that is unique. Remember that on one of the columns, on our tables, we said that the dimension tables should not have duplicates. So you are expected to have unique values on that table, most especially the key. The customer ID in this case is the key. So everything on the customer ID must be unique. That's the only way this can work properly. If they are not unique, you won't have a one-to-many relationship. It means you would have something like a many-to-many relationship because you have many instances of the customer ID on a side of the table and many instances of the customer ID on another side of the table. So what this is telling us is that whenever we pick a single customer on the dimension file, we are expected not to have another value for that same customer. But when we get to the facts table, because the fact is recording transactions, and that's the many side because we have a customer appear many times. Do we understand this at all? Do we understand this?
Yes.
Okay.
Gradually.
Gradually. Okay. It will be clear eventually. So what I'm saying is this. If I come out of this for the moment, if you look at the lines that we have, you see that for all of the ones, they are next to our dimension tables. Did you see that?
Yes, yes.
So it's because of the fact that we have unique values on the dimension files. So it's telling us, the one there is telling us that for any element that we are looking at on the key, there is a single instance for that element. So if I stay here on my location ID, for instance, my location ID on the location table has one instance of each location ID. So no location ID was repeated. If we have any location ID repeated, this would not be 1. It will be something else, maybe a star like this. And the star that we can see here means that a single location ID repeat was or appeared a couple of times. There are repetitions of the same location ID on the facts table, which is expected because we expect that a transaction, multiple transactions can happen in the same location. So it is expected. The other thing that we need to notice on this table or this set of tables is the direction of the arrows on the line. The way the arrow is pointing implies the filtering direction. It means that whatever we select on the D products table will be able to filter the facts table because the direction is pointing towards the facts table. If the direction was otherwise, it means that the fact can only filter the product, the D product would not be able to filter the fact. The normal direction you should have is something that we already have, which is your D product being able to filter down the facts. Although there is a provision for both ways filtering, which means your dimension can filter the fact can also filter the dimension, but that's a bit advanced when it comes to modeling. But the way to see that is if I just want to launch, I want to get into this relationship, I just need to double click on the line. So if I double click on this line, it will open up the relationship. And here you see that we have the facts table and the D products table getting connected on the product ID. It says the cardinality is many to one. That's what we can see. Many on the side of the fact, one on the side of the product. And now we have cross filter direction saying it is single, which means that we can only filter in one direction. The D products table is the only one that can filter the facts. But I have the option to make this both. But this is something that we need to understand really why we're doing that. Hopefully there will be a situation along this training that would warrant us to do a double filter or a cross filter direction. But for now, know that the basics is that you should have a single filtering direction. If you will do double or both, you need to be sure of what is happening so that you'll not be getting unexpected result. So this is a brief of data modeling, and it is when we have a model built like this, then the very next thing to do is to start building out our visualizations. Our time is pretty much fast spent now, so it wouldn't be nice that we have very little of visualization and we cut it there. So what I would do is that would begin the talks of visualization comprehensively tomorrow. And if you are unable to, we won't be able to complete it tomorrow. So we'll have some part of it left, which will push to the next class after tomorrow. At this point, please, do we have questions?
I think from my head, no question. Just have to go through the recordings.
Okay.
Same here also.
Okay, thanks for that. So please, let's endeavor to look at this again. We might build this again with a new file to be sure that we understood everything. And along the line, if we encounter any challenge, we have something to clarify, please let's drop those on the WhatsApp group. So if whenever I'm available, I will attend to those so that we don't leave them all till the next class, and it doesn't cost us a bit more time to address in the class. Okay, so thanks a lot, everybody. Please, let's do the same time tomorrow, 7 a.m. Does that work for us?
Yes.
Okay. Sadiq, does it work for you, Abdul Samad?
So it's
Yes.
fine. It's fine. 7 a.m. is fine.
Okay, okay. So we meet 7 a.m. tomorrow, inshallah. Let's try as much as possible to be early so we can start as quickly as we can. Thank you so much once again, everybody, and let's do enjoy our day.
You too.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.